Join us in August 2023 for the PTSD conference in Adelaide, South Australia. We're pleased to have Carragher, the acclaimed speaker and author, a retired Army Sergeant Major, certainly a very experienced crisis counsellor and trainer of first responders, military units, police and hospital staff. 2 out of every 10 people suffer from PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. This includes abuse and accident victims, military personnel, healthcare workers, first responders and caregivers, to mention a few. Adelaide is going to be the location of the PTSD conference in August 2023. Are you or someone you know struggling with issues of anger, fear, anxiety, depression, or suicidal thoughts as a result of trauma or grief? There are biblical answers for the hurting. Join us for our conference. The program includes trauma, suicidal ideation, depression, guilt and survivor's guilt, anger, military and sexual trauma, healing from loss, and helps for the hurting, to mention just a few. Please register now by contacting us on 0417 016 160 or emailing us at adcraig@ihug.com.au. He healeth the broken in heart and bindeth up their wounds. PTSD Conference, Adelaide, August 2023. Make plans to attend now.
PTSD I see as a way for the brain to cope with something it went through earlier in its life. It's like a behind-the-scenes brain holding on to something and trying to protect itself.
PTSD to me is waking up in the middle of the night, nauseous, shaking, nightmares, and realizing that what happened really happened.
If you're at this table and you've suffered from nightmares, flashbacks, or disassociation, would you raise your hand and say, I've been there? Everybody at the table.
Fear and anxiety, not knowing what tomorrow holds. At one point, suicidal ideations.
It looks like a lot of worry and anxiety, bouts of depression, lots of flashbacks, nightmares, triggers. I have a lot of triggers that will send me into a panic state, almost a numbing.
So in my case, swallowing the victim's blood and dealing with those types of things, so blood freaks me out a little bit.
Standing in Costco and seeing the Christmas decorations.
Getting in a car sometimes still is a choice. It's something I have to say, you can do this. I have panic attacks, I have anxiety attacks, I have flashbacks, I have nightmares.
One of the things I stressed first of all was how important it is to listen, to ask them, tell us your story, tell us what got you to this point.
Things with family change after you've been through a trauma.
When I came home from combat, it was really hard to adjust. I was still in that mode of combat. Certain things at certain times. My kids wouldn't listen the first time, so I would start to yell, and then I'd just separate myself. I wouldn't deal with their quote unquote insubordination, if you will.
PTSD to me is a response that your body takes from a trauma. It could be from growing up as a young kid. It can be even as an adult, witnessing something that's out of the ordinary, a traumatic event, being assaulted, seeing somebody get mugged, or seeing something that just your body responds to in an unnatural way.
PTSD is something that I personally did not know very much about until I was introduced through Wounded Spirits Ministries.
PTSD changed everything for me. PTSD is the complete polar opposite of normal. PTSD can be all-consuming if you let it. PTSD can take over your life, or PTSD can be something that God has helped you champion through.
You do not have to live in that constant over-awareness or anxiety, because there's a way through that pain, there's a way through that trial.
The first place to find healing is in a personal relationship with Jesus.
If you're dealing with anger, fear, survivor's guilt, suicidal thoughts, don't be afraid to ask for help.
It takes someone really strong to reach out and to get help.
First thing to let her know that it is not her fault. What happened to her in the past is not her fault. That doesn't define who she is. Her value doesn't come from that. She's not a victim. Her value comes from Christ.
For those that suffer with PTSD or anything like it, I want them to know that there is help and there is comfort in the Lord. He has answers in His Word, and He has people that can help.
PTSD to me is a constant reminder of my past, but now I use it as a tool to help others overcome PTSD.
I want people with PTSD to seek God and draw closer to Him, and He'll draw closer to you, the Bible says, draw nigh. And the closer I get to God, the farther away from the craziness.
If you have PTSD, your world's been turned upside down. Maybe you've been altered physically, emotionally, mentally, but to know that Jesus never changes. He's always the same. His attributes are the same. His promises aren't changed. They aren't morphed. And that is what is hope-giving, is life-giving, is joy-giving, and that's the essence of the Wounded Spirits Ministries.